Setting up for sheet pile capping beams, the first thing we do is we'll mark the pile out. This type of pile we end up with one bracket per pile face. So the mark will be put 18mm down to allow for ply and also for the slot on the bracket. So you measure down from the top of the bracket to the top of the slot, add 18mm, and that's the mark for your drilling of the hole. The three types of bolts that we'll use for sheet piles, all of which are shown here. The first one that we'll use today is just a standard M16 bolt, because we're doing a double-sided sheet pile capping beam. That will go directly through and it will hold the bracket on either side. After the pour it will be taken out and reused. The other two types we use is called a HD bolt, which we've got here. This is for use on predominantly single-sided, and the way it works, so assume the other side of this sheet pile is backfilled or soil or some sort of solid material. We drill the hole, the bolt goes through to hold the bracket on this side, so it would generally be a side that's over water or in the air. When the bolt's in position, it's turned, and the locating pin, you'll see, will drop through. When the bolt's tightened up and holds onto the sheet pile, to take it back out again, it's turned and it's retrieved, so again reusable. And the third bolt is like a standard wall bolt. You can see the end here will split. When it goes through into the solid surface on the other side, it's hit with a hammer, the end splays out, it's tightened up. When finished with, it can be knocked through back into the solid material or cut off. So they're the three types of bolts. We use a mag drill for this. Generally we'll hire the mag drills out, or you use your own, but we'll show you now drilling the holes for the mag drills. So we already have the hole position marked. So all of the mag drills that FastForm supply will come with a safety harness. So you just hook that onto the top of the pile, because it is a mag drill. And once in place, the magnet holds it in place, but clearly if you run out of power or your generator failed, it can drop off. So we have a safety line on that's attached at all times, just stops any damage to the drill. So once the mag drill's in place, we can drill a hole. So as you can see, it only takes 10 or 15 seconds to drill a hole. We then move on to the next hole. We're now going to switch to time lapse. So fixing of the brackets. This case we're just using M16 bolts straight through the hole. Because we're doing a double-sided beam, we've got the opposite bracket on the other side. In this case we're using a larger bracket because we're going to have an access on the outside. We just locate the bolt. Bracket sits on top. Just hand tight, we'll hold them on. Second bolt goes in the bottom. Again, just hand tight. So now we're going to use one of our battery impact wrenches just to tighten. And the same on the bottom. So, done and in place. Repeat for all the other brackets, so you can see actually fixing the brackets takes a matter of seconds. So next bracket, so you're going to be a 1200 on this side. There you go. So because of the sheet piles coming in and out, we're alternating with 800 brackets and 1200s. Normally would time lapse, but because we're only fitting 6, and as you can see how quick it is, it gives you an idea of the time for fitting. can see the speed of installation. We've just fixed 6 brackets in a matter of minutes. Very quick, very easy, solid. We're now going to put our ply on, scribe and cut to the shape of the pile and fix on. So we'll now jump to that section. So once we've got the brackets on, obviously the next thing is to just level them. Impact wrench, battery, you can just undo the bolt, pull the bracket till it's level, and then tighten, done. And just repeat for every other bracket. So now we come to the ply for the soffit. Very straightforward. We just line the ply up with the inside face of the pile. We're then going to just scribe underneath with a pencil and jigsaw out, and that'll create the template for both sides, because we can reverse it over for the opposite side, so you're only templating one side. Usually on a straight run of piles, this template can be used over and over again on all the sheet piles. If the piles deviate slightly, you can get slight gaps, but they can always be foam filled in. So you usually get a good reuse out of the soffit sheets, unless maybe it's a radius, in which case you might need to recut several times. So now we'll just jump onto the jigsawing. We won't bother filming that, pretty mundane, I'm sure most can do it, and we'll just show you marking underneath for the scribing. So scribing underneath with your pencil, fairly straightforward. All we'll do is just follow the line of the pile with your pencil. And scribe round. And that's it. Now we'll jump to cutting. So what we have here is we've set up both examples of being able to do a capping beam. So on this side we're going to basically just have 2 brackets bolted together, which obviously we're going to apply, and it'll just create a shutter this side. We will be putting a handrail this side. So if you didn't need access, this is the way that you would set your beam up, and you could set the beam both sides if you didn't need access and you, for example, was at this height. If you was over water or you needed access, what we've done the other side, we've set it up with a full sheet of ply. We're going to put a handrail on that side, and that would give you like a full access platform of those dimensions, as you can see, from which your steel fixers could then fix the beam before you fix the outside shutter. We'll come on to that a little later. I'll just explain how we're going to fix these together. So they're just a standard M16 nut, bolt and washer. The only difference is we use anti-vibration washers when we're bolting the 2 brackets together, just to stop the nuts coming under vibration. So now we're just going to pop our nut on. Washer and nut from underneath. Also, you would get your line of your shutter. We've already marked that, and then we just tighten with the impact wrench. Very important that all bolts are tightened with at least a battery impact wrench. You wouldn't be able to undo that by hand with a spanner, which means it also won't move on the concreting. We'll then put on the second bolt. And as you can see, very quick, very easy, very straightforward. And tighten up. We'll now repeat for each of the brackets this side. I'm going to do this in standard time just to show the speed of use of the system, whereas normally we might jump to time lapse. Notice once you've got the first bolt in, the bracket is then solid. obviously the beauty of the slot, so the brackets can actually move forwards and backwards, so you can create any size of beam. From the drawings we'll usually calculate which size brackets you need for which size beam. As you can see there, we're doing a 600 high beam on this one. Another important note, obviously, when you're bolting the brackets together, is to get the bolts as far away from each other as possible. First bolt as far forward as you can, last bolt as far back as you can, which gives a great purchase on the bracket. That's it. We're now going to jump to fixing the ply to the front face and the lining of the brackets, which we'll do in time lapse. So now we've already plumbed up the brackets, the next thing is to apply the ply to the front face. You'll notice we've got a light side and a dark side on the ply. This is our FastForm MDO ply. We generally use, it's better quality ply. Dark side is always on the back and light side to the front. The screw top and bottom. The screws aren't structural, they're just to hold the ply in place. The bracket is the strength in the system. So unlike timber systems where you're making up a huge strong frame and then applying your ply with nails, there's no make-up with this system. Once you've got the brackets bolted together, it's just basically screw the ply on. See, very quick and easy. The next thing we're going to do on this side is we're going to show a handrail. So for this we have our scaffold attachment, which simply bolts on. This fits onto any of the FastForm bracket systems, so you can have a handrail on any size of point. Done. Then we just have to put the tube in. Very straightforward. Tube goes in and tighten up with the Allen key. Done. We'll now jump across on time lapse. We're going to put the other upright on and we're going to put the handrail system on. So on this side we're going to have the access. So what we're going to do, unlike the other side, we haven't actually screwed the soffit ply down to the brackets because there'll be no uplift, and the bracket at the back actually will hold the ply in place. With this side what we're going to do is actually just screw underneath to fix the ply into place, because we're going to show a couple of options of fixing the brackets on the top. So while my colleague screws from beneath and screws a ply on, what I'm actually going to do is we've got the handrail on the back side now. We're going to do exactly the same on this side. We're going to put a safety handrail on this side at the same time. we're going to show two methods of fixing the brackets. First method is we can actually screw down. So if you was fixing these onto sort of decking or slabs, you can actually just use the screw holes and screw directly down through the ply. It's very important, if you're using this method, that you use all the screw holes and that the ply underneath is securely fixed to the brackets and screwed down. Otherwise you can get lift. So if this ply is not screwed down to the brackets below and secured, there's a danger of lifting. Generally the concrete's going on here first, so this ply won't lift. But you have to make sure you use the right screws using every screw hole. Generally we wouldn't recommend fixing a 600 bracket via this method. Generally we'd only do that on maybe the 400 brackets or the 150-200 brackets. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this off and we're going to show you the other way to fix through ply like this, with bolting it to the bracket directly underneath, which is always the best method anyway. Just wanted to show that because this is the method used when we screw sort of slab edge shutters onto ply decking for multi-storey buildings. So the other method is to bolt straight through as we did on the other side. What you need to do is drill straight from underneath to give yourself a hole in the ply, and then we can drop down it. You've got a full slot on the bottom, so it doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. You could even slot the whole length of the bracket if you wanted. So as we've before, as we're bolting to the bracket below, all we've got to do is put the bracket over, bolt underneath. We'll do this in real time just to show the speed of it. And as before, we're using the anti-vibration washers. Impact wrench. Always use the impact wrench when tightening these bolts. It takes just minutes to put the brackets on, and then as before we just plumb the brackets up. Right, so with the brackets now plumbed, we can apply the ply as before with the MDO. Dark side goes to the back and a screw top and bottom is usually enough, although it is better to use all the screw holes. A screw top and bottom on each bracket for now will hold in place. And there we go, 600 high by 900 wide capping beam done. The actual time we took to do this without the time lapse, what, 1.5–2 metre stretch in 20–30 minutes. So as you can see, we've got a full access platform at the back. My colleague stood there. Nice solid platform so we can stand on. Could fix all the rebar from there. Could have done that before we put the front sheet on. But fully handrailed, full access, safe.